Captain Kale drifted through the dark stretch of the Urindor void, the controls of his small spacecraft humming beneath his hands. Stars glimmered like scattered diamonds against the black canvas of space, but even their cold light could not chase away the shadows in his thoughts. The war was over, but its memories clung to him like smoke, twisting in his mind with every echo of silence. He had lost comrades, lost battles, and for what? The galaxy had moved on, but Kale remained an outcast, a wanderer who trusted no one, not even himself. Then the signal came. A soft, repeating pulse, almost melodic, cut through the emptiness. It was weak, fragile, but unmistakable, a distress call. He checked the coordinates. Forbidden planet, outskirts of the human-explored territories. A place the maps warned travelers to avoid. Kale frowned, tension pulling at his jaw. Normally, he ignored such signals. He had learned long ago that distress calls were often traps, but something about this one, it resonated. Something human or not, it didn't matter. It demanded action. He adjusted the ship's trajectory. The engine thrummed as he navigated toward the planet. The surface emerged beneath him. Jagged mountains rimmed with pale blue light, strange mist curling between peaks like ghostly fingers. His ship trembled as he descended through turbulent skies. The signal grew stronger. Then finally he saw it, a ruined starship, its hull scorched, smoke curling from ruptured panels. Kale's pulse quickened. He docked carefully, scanning for life signs. 1. Faint, irregular heartbeat. He entered the damaged ship, gravity pulling at him in odd ways as emergency lights flickered weakly. The corridors smelled of ozone and burning metal. And then he saw her. She was lying in the wreckage, barely conscious, with hair that shimmered like strands of silver and skin that glowed faintly under the lights. Her eyes, wide and wary, met his, and in them Kale saw both fear and defiance. She was beautiful, yes, but more than that, there was a presence about her, a quiet authority that demanded attention even in weakness. "Princess?" Kale asked, though he barely knew why the word slipped out. She stirred, a whisper escaping her lips in a language he could not understand. Yet the tone, the urgency, made it clear. She was asking for help. Kale lifted her carefully. Her weight was light, but her injuries were severe. As he carried her through the crumbling corridors, alarms blared, warning of decompression and failing power. Outside, storm clouds swirled over the alien mountains, their lightning illuminating the metallic skeleton of the ruined ship. Once aboard his own craft, Kale activated the medical pod. It hummed to life, and soft light bathed her as he set her down gently. Machines began to scan, detecting broken bones, burns, and an unknown energy field surrounding her. Kale's stomach twisted. Whoever had done this had wanted her gone, but why? And who? The princess stirred again, opening her eyes slowly. They were a deep, luminous blue, wide and questioning. She looked at him with suspicion, and Kale realized she did not understand him. He had expected fear, but there was something else, calculating intelligence, sharp and wary. She was not an ordinary victim. "I'm not going to hurt you," he said softly, trying to meet her gaze. "You're safe for now." If agents of her kingdom were searching for her, Kale would be risking more than his life. He would be entering the politics of a galaxy he barely understood, yet he could not leave her to die. In the quiet moments, he caught himself staring. Her presence was like a melody he could not forget. Every small movement she made, the flick of her hand, the blink of her eyes, was poetry in motion. And he knew, somewhere deep down, that this was more than a rescue. This was the beginning of a bond that neither of them could yet name. Hours turned to days as Kale flew through the void, keeping his course hidden. He tried to communicate using symbols, gestures, and basic words, but she remained cautious. Still, tiny threads of understanding began to form. She would look at him when he spoke, study his gestures, sometimes even mimic them. And when she allowed him to touch her arm to adjust her blanket or the medical sensors, it was a silent acknowledgement of trust. But peace was fragile. One night, as the stars streaked past in the glow of hyperspace, a warning tone erupted on the control panel. Kale's stomach sank. Large vessels, unmarked and heavily armed, had appeared on his sensors. Their formation was precise, almost ceremonial. The insignia glimmered faintly, a crown with sharp, jagged wings, the royal crest of Urindor. "They found us," Kale whispered, his voice tense. The princess's head lifted at the sound, her eyes wide, alert, and full of fear. This was not just a chase. This was a declaration. The ships moved in formation, closing the distance with terrifying speed. Kale adjusted the shields and weapons, but he knew it would not be enough. These were not pirates, they were trained soldiers, elite forces, and they wanted one thing, the princess. "Hold on," he muttered, more to himself than to her. He accelerated, weaving through asteroid fields, dodging the first volleys of plasma fire. Her hand brushed against his arm as she instinctively stabilized herself, and he felt a spark of connection, a shared heartbeat in the chaos. They barely escaped, but the price was clear. Kale's ship was damaged, shields flickering under the strain, and the princess, though safe for now, was at the center of a storm he could not control. As he plotted a course to a hidden moon known only to smugglers and outcasts, he realized something that chilled him. He had not just saved a life. He had become part of a story far greater than himself. A story of kings and crowns, of betrayal and power, and of a destiny that might require more than courage. It might require his very heart. The princess, watching the stars through the viewport, finally spoke a word that Kale could not understand. But in the tone, he heard trust, and perhaps even hope. Kale knew that tomorrow would bring more danger, more tests, and more questions. Yet as he adjusted the ship's course, he felt a determination he had not felt in years. Whatever the galaxy threw at him, he would protect her. Not for reward, not for fame, but because in her survival, he found a purpose he had long thought lost. The stars stretched endlessly before them, silent witnesses to the beginning of a bond that would shake the foundations of empires. And as the first hint of dawn touched the icy rings of the distant planets, Kale whispered to himself. And no matter how fast they ran, the storm had already begun. The massive Urindor warship loomed before Kale's small craft, its hull a sweeping expanse of black and gold, crowned with jagged symbols of power. Every sensor aboard his ship screamed danger, every instinct told him to flee, but he had nowhere to run. The princess, unconscious and fragile, rested in the medical pod, unaware of the storm closing around them. With a resigned breath, Kale powered down the engines and activated the docking sequence. Magnetic clamps engaged, and his ship was pulled toward the heart of the alien vessel like a small pebble caught in a tide. He gripped the controls, jaw tight, knowing that surrendering here was not weakness but a necessity. Survival often required patience as much as strength. The docking bay was vast and silent, illuminated by pale green light that reflected off polished metal walls. Guards lined the perimeter, tall and armored, their helmets concealing alien expressions Kale could not read. One stepped forward, scanning him with a device that pulsed and beeped. "Who brings the princess?" The voice was metallic, distorted, yet unmistakably regal. Kale straightened. "She's injured. I saved her life. That is all I know." His words were steady, though inside, anxiety gnawed at him. He had no way to explain the politics, the betrayal, or the ancient rivalries he barely understood. A long moment passed, then the figure signaled. The guards escorted him through the docking bay, past corridors lined with statues of warriors and kings. Every step Kale took echoed against the smooth floor, each echo a reminder of the vast gulf between him and the Urindor court he was about to enter. Finally, they arrived at the throne chamber. It was immense, soaring high above with ceilings that shimmered like liquid crystal. A long dais held the throne, ornate and imposing, carved from a single piece of black stone veined with gold, and upon it sat the king. King Aelric, Lyra's father, was a figure both regal and intimidating. His gaze swept Kale over like a hunter assessing prey, sharp and unforgiving. Every movement was precise, deliberate, radiating authority and centuries of experience. "You have brought her here," the king said, voice low and commanding. "Explain yourself." "I only saved her life. That is my truth. And yet, by doing so, you have entered a world far beyond your understanding. Life in Urindor is not mercy alone. It is strategy, loyalty, and power. You will be tested." "I accept your tests." "That alone casts suspicion on every alliance and friend you have. You must learn to discern trust, even in those who saved you." Days passed in the court of Urindor, each moment a test of Kale's resolve and Lyra's trust. Kale learned the rules quickly. Eyes that watched him at every turn, whispers that carried secrets in every shadow, and courtiers who measured his every move for weakness. Lyra remained cautious. She observed him with quiet curiosity, noticing his patience, his courage, and the ways he adapted to alien technology with skill and ease. For her part, she taught him the basics of Urindor combat, how to wield energy blades, how to harness a fraction of the latent power within their environment. Training sessions were tense yet intimate, each interaction deepening a silent connection neither fully understood. Despite the court's scrutiny, small victories came. Kale deciphered the signals of alien spies, averted minor political snares, and assisted in missions that proved his skill and loyalty. The king, watching from a distance, began to nod slightly at his accomplishments. But trust was not given freely, and Kale knew that the ultimate test was still ahead. And then came the whisper of danger. An assassin had infiltrated the palace, disguised as a royal aide. Kale was in the training hall with Lyra when the first signs appeared. Shadows moving against the light, footsteps too soft to notice, and a sudden chill in the air. Lyra paused, her senses sharpening instinctively. Before Kale could react, a figure lunged from the shadows, blade aimed at Lyra. Time slowed. Kale dove, tackling the attacker, but the speed and skill of the foe were overwhelming. Lyra's eyes widened, and then something awakened. A surge of energy, radiant and brilliant, erupted from her. It swept through the hall, throwing the attacker back with force. Walls cracked, lights flickered, and the air vibrated with the power she had never fully controlled. Kale shielded his eyes, awestruck and fearful, as the princess's energy formed a barrier around them, protective yet uncontrollable. The attacker fled, defeated, but the court erupted in chaos. Guards rushed in, trying to contain the energy that still pulsed like living fire. King Aelric appeared, face pale but composed, observing his daughter's power with a mixture of pride and concern. "Lyra," he called, voice commanding, "control yourself." "I'm here." Kale knelt beside her, offering steadying words. "It's okay," he said softly. "You've done what you had to do, nothing more. Only then will I know if you are worthy of trust." Strange luminescent plants bathed the space in a gentle glow, casting long, dancing shadows. "You didn't have to save me," Lyra said quietly, voice tinged with wonder and something like admiration. Kale looked at her, meeting her gaze. "I did, because no one deserves to die like that, and because I couldn't let you face the storm alone. I don't know if I can trust anyone yet, but I think I can trust you." Kale's eyes narrowed. "Not again," he muttered. Lyra's hand tightened on his arm. "What is it?" And this time, it might not be 1 week, and the palace shook as the descending ships drew closer, their engines roaring across the alien skyline. Kale's hands gripped the rail of the private garden terrace where he and Lyra had sought a brief moment of peace. The glow from luminescent plants cast eerie reflections across their faces, highlighting the determination and fear in their eyes. "Kale," Lyra whispered, her voice trembling, "they're coming for us." Every hallway seemed alive, filled with the echoes of past whispers and unseen eyes. Even trained guards hesitated, unsure of the origin and intent of the descending ships. Kale led Lyra to the crystal caverns, a secluded part of the palace known to few. The walls glimmered with pale, natural light, reflecting off sharp surfaces like frozen stars. It was here that the princess had first begun to explore her latent powers, learning to control the faint energy that hummed within her. "This place, it's beautiful," Lyra said softly, leaning against a smooth crystal wall. Her fingers brushed over the glowing ridges, and a soft pulse radiated from the rock, responding to her presence. Kale studied her, his mind torn between admiration and concern. "It's safe for now, but you need to be ready. Whatever comes, we face it together." "Then I'll be here. I've faced danger before. I've fought wars. But this is different. I fight because I want to protect you. And I believe you'll find strength in yourself. You have more power than you know, and I won't let fear hold you back." Then far above, a sudden tremor shook the cavern. The sound of weapons fired, the roar of engines, and the clash of alien metal echoed down the tunnels. Kale and Lyra exchanged a glance. It was no longer a distant threat. The enemy had reached the palace. "Stay close to me," Kale instructed. "We have to reach the armory. You'll need weapons. And I'll need you at your strongest." In the armory, Kale selected weapons, energy blades, compact plasma pistols, and a few experimental devices from Erendor's human liaison program. He handed one to Lyra, her hands steady despite the tension. "You'll need to trust yourself," he said quietly. "I can help you control the power, but only you can channel it." Always. Alien soldiers, unlike anything Kale had ever faced, clad in dark armor and wielding energy weapons, advanced with terrifying precision. Kale and Lyra engaged immediately. Lyra's power flared, a brilliant aura enveloping her as she deflected attacks with pulses of light. Kale moved beside her, his human agility and combat skills complementing her energy bursts. They fought as one, instinctively protecting each other, learning the rhythm of battle together. But then a shadow emerged, a figure cloaked in darkness, moving faster than any human or alien Kale had ever encountered. It was Lyra's exiled sibling, Varen, returned from banishment, eyes glinting with malice. "You should not have returned, Kale," Varen said, voice cold and mocking. "And you, Lyra, are weak. Your power is unstable. I will claim the throne and everything you hold dear. Lyra's powers surged unpredictably, sometimes creating barriers that protected them, other times striking enemies with force beyond Kale's anticipation. But in a sudden moment, Kale was struck by a blast of energy aimed not at Lyra, but at him. He crumpled to the ground, pain shooting through his side. His vision blurred, and for a heartbeat, he feared he would not rise again. Lyra's scream tore through the cavern, and her power erupted like a tempest. The walls shook, the crystal ridges fractured, and a blinding light pushed Varen back. Kale, struggling to stand, watched in awe and fear. The princess, the fragile figure he had saved, now wielded a force that could reshape the battlefield itself. Kale crawled to her side, gripping her arm. "It's okay. Focus, Lyra. You control it. You can do this." "This is not over," Varen hissed, vanishing into the shadows with a speed that defied belief. Lyra sank to her knees, trembling from the exertion. Kale knelt beside her, steadying her. "You did it," he whispered, voice filled with awe. "You controlled it. You were incredible." I could not have done it without you," she admitted, voice soft. "You helped me in ways I cannot explain." Kale's injuries were serious, and Lyra's powers, though controlled, had revealed her to the court in a way that could not be undone. The king would need to decide how to respond to her display, and Kale's presence as her protector was more scrutinized than ever. That night, Kale lay in the medical quarters, wounds treated but still aching. Lyra sat nearby, silent, watching him sleep. The moonlight from the palace windows highlighted the lines of worry on her face. "Kale," she whispered, voice barely audible. "I fear what father will think. He may see your involvement as a threat, or worse, he may not trust me to control this power. We are stronger because we have each other." The galaxy itself seemed to test them, a vast stage for destiny and choice. Kale realized that survival was no longer just about him or even Lyra. It was about forging a bond strong enough to withstand the storms ahead, a bond that could alter the fate of worlds. And yet, in the silence of the palace night, a subtle pulse traveled through the corridors, unnoticed by all but Kale. A signal, faint but deliberate, emanated from deep within the palace walls, an ancient device untouched for centuries now awakening. Kale's eyes narrowed. "There's something else," he murmured, though no one could hear him. "Something hidden, waiting." Whatever lay ahead, he knew their bond had been tested and survived. But destiny had more trials in store, shadows waiting to challenge trust, loyalty, and courage in ways they could not yet imagine. The hidden pulse that Kale had sensed earlier reverberated through the palace, a faint, low hum that grew steadily louder. Lyra and Kale stood side by side in the crystal caverns, their eyes scanning the glowing walls for any sign of threat. The palace, which had seemed secure moments ago, now felt alive with danger. Kale's hand rested on the hilt of his energy blade. "Something's coming," he said, voice tense. "Not Varen, something older and stronger." She could feel it responding to the hum, reacting to a power she had not encountered before. "It's ancient," she whispered, eyes wide. "Older than the throne, older than the kingdom itself." It was a guardian left behind by the first rulers of Erendor, an entity of immense power, tasked with testing those who would claim the throne. "You wish to claim the crown?" The guardian's voice echoed, resonating deep in their chests. "Prove your worth or fall. Whatever you are, we face you together." They fought as a single unit, Kale's precision and strategy complementing Lyra's raw energy and intuition. Every movement was calculated, yet instinctual, born from days of training, survival, and the bond that had deepened between them. But the Guardian was not easily defeated. It adapted quickly, attacking in ways that tested their coordination, striking at weaknesses they didn't yet know existed. Kale stumbled as a shadow struck him from the side, but Lyra's barrier flared, shielding him from harm. "You are stronger than I imagined," Kale said, pain lacing his voice, yet determination burning in his eyes. "But trust me, Lyra, you can control this. I believe in you." Kale lunged, delivering a decisive blow that shattered the largest shadow. Lyra followed, her energy enveloping the entity in a brilliant wave, forcing it back toward the walls. Then silence. The caverns glowed softly, the hum fading. The Guardian's form collapsed, returning to the walls, leaving only a faint shimmer behind. "You have proven your worth," the Guardian intoned one last time. "Your bond is strong, your courage unwavering. The throne will recognize your unity. The throne belongs to me, and I will take it no matter what." The battle raged through the crystal halls, light flashing against dark armor, echoes of energy blasts bouncing off walls like thunder. Kale took a hit, stumbling, but Lyra's quick intervention saved him. "You're not alone," she reminded him, energy flaring around them both. Varen roared, striking with ferocity, but Kale and Lyra's teamwork was seamless. He lured Varen into a trap, while she used her powers to immobilize him temporarily, binding him in a cage of pure energy. Exhausted but resolute, Kale stepped forward. "This ends now," he said, voice steady. "You will not harm Lyra, and you will not take what you are not meant to have. You are blinded by anger and jealousy. The throne is not given to the strongest alone. It is given to the one who protects, who leads, and who loves wisely. And I will not let you destroy what we've built." Guards arrived to take him into custody, and the immediate threat was neutralized. The king, who had watched the battle unfold from a distance, entered the cavern. His eyes swept over Kale and Lyra, then softened with pride. "You have proven yourselves," he said, voice resonant. "Kale, your courage and loyalty are undeniable. You have earned not only the trust of the princess, but the respect of this court. You are a bridge between our worlds." Their eyes met, and for a moment, the trials, the battles, and the danger all melted into quiet understanding. Their bond had survived, strengthened, and emerged victorious. That evening, the palace celebrated their victory, though quietly. Lyra's powers had been acknowledged and controlled, Kale had earned the king's trust, and Varen had been exiled once more, this time without the ability to return. In a secluded part of the palace gardens, Kale and Lyra stood together under a sky of stars, the soft glow reflecting off the crystal paths. Silence wrapped around them, peaceful yet heavy with meaning. "You changed everything," Lyra said softly. "Not just for me, for the kingdom, for the people, for us. And I wouldn't have faced it without you." And yet, as they gazed at the distant horizon, a faint, distant signal pulsed in the void of space. It was weak, almost imperceptible, but persistent. Kale noticed it first, sensing the familiar rhythm of something ancient and unknown. "It's coming," he murmured, hand tightening around hers. Lyra's eyes reflected both determination and wonder. "Then we face it," she said. "Together." The palace stood as a beacon, the kingdom safe, for now. But beyond the horizon, new adventures waited. Their bond, forged in peril and tested by fire, would endure. And in the silence of the night, the stars shimmered as if acknowledging the beginning of a legend, one that would ripple across the galaxy for generations to come.